Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about Brian Carson Williams, also known as Bison Dele. He changed his name to Bison Dele to honor his Cherokee and African American heritage. Dele is believed to have been murdered at sea by his older brother Miles DeBoard in 2002. His girlfriend Serena Carlin and skipper Bertrand Saldo are also presumed to have been killed by DeBoard, who later intentionally overdosed on insulin. Pictured from left to right is Bison Dele, and then in the middle is Serena Carlin, and then to the right is Miles DeBoard, his brother, Dele's brother. Pictured again from left to right, we have Bison Dele. In the middle is Serena Carlin, and then to the right is Bertrand Saldo. He's the skipper or the captain of Dele's catamaran. So the common belief is that Miles unalived all three people on the boat. But, the cards are saying something different. My suspicion is something entirely different. So I'm just going to take my time with this one, and I'll try to make sure that I cover everything as far as like what was said about him and witnesses and things like that. Okay, so let's get into the first spread. So what I take from this spread is that there was a woman involved, right? Mature woman, who wanted to deal with an issue or needed to rectify an issue. And she summons somebody to deal with this problem, right? So adjudication, high honor, main male, to deal with the main male, concerned about a privileged female, okay? So we'll just leave that there. So in this spread, we have the Death card, we have Six of Cups, Seven of Wands, Queen of Wands, the Star, the Hierophant, Eight of Wands, Ace of Wands, the Magician, the Chariot, Justice, and then Six of Swords. So what this says to me is that there was a separation emotionally, but then there was a need to defend somebody. So like we were deprogramming from nostalgia or memories that were sacred, and felt the need to defend ourselves against a queen, with the hopes of getting the community involved or getting some kind of community or support behind, with the Hierophant, just kind of like summoning community, and quickly having things like there was a hope to kind of work together, I guess, there was a hope that what it feels like to me is that I feel like the brother, DeBoard, was in trouble. I feel like he owed somebody money, and that there was something that happened between him and some other woman that he owed money to. And I felt that they may have threatened him or his brother or his family. And so I think the board was thinking, well, I need to get my brother on board with some things, or, I don't know. I'm sure, money was a part of it. And, maybe we could just like work this out with the Justice card, if we can get everything on board, we'll be successful, if we can come together for this and deal with whatever this issue is, we'll be successful. And we can just kind of like leave it in the past, because I think that I feel like that's what happened. I don't feel like the brother did it. I feel like this happened because of some shit the brother was into. That's what I think happened. So when I looked at the Wikipedia, which you guys should go over and check out, if you have a chance, it's under Bison Dele. And you go all the way down to the bottom. The mother talks about how she mentions how the son, the board, said, I would never hurt him. I didn't hurt him. But then, according to his girlfriend or his ex-girlfriend, I believe her name is Erica something, she tells the tale that the board supposedly claimed that there was a struggle on board and there was a confrontation on board or something. This feeds into the narrative. But there's something about this that just doesn't feel right. I feel, and I don't feel that he committed suicide either. I think he was depressed because he was stuck in this situation and because he may have witnessed, as a punishment or as a demonstration of control, 3 people being disappeared, including his his younger brother, because the board was the older brother, okay? And of course, Dele was very successful, and at that point he was okay with where he was. He had left the NBA. So yeah, there'd be a great deal of a tremendous deal of guilt. But I feel like I don't know. I just don't feel like it is the way that they say it is. I don't feel that at all. So let's get into the next spread. Okay, so this spread goes into like a fringe area where we talk about cryptids and underground tunnels. Like I said, with the Sebastian reading, there's some people that know about that stuff and some people don't. So I don't want to alienate the audience for those that aren't privy to like the whole reptilian thing and underground, spaces and, the whole child trafficking with the tunnels and stuff. So, but I just wanted to explain that because it did come out here. So it says, taken into the underground tunnels and cities, I was harmed and consumed by a cryptid. Now, mind you, there's 3 people. Okay, so if I don't believe that anybody was thrown in the ocean. I believe that they were all removed and taken. So then it says Hispanic. It says, I was taken for my organs. This was no suicide. I did not commit suicide. Now, at the time when I got this card, I didn't connect it with the brother until after I finished the reading. So I did this reading hours ago. I'm just now adding the audio onto it. So it definitely, it's telling at this point. So I'm with family and ancestors. This was gender-based, taken to the Middle East, which is interesting because it does say in the Wikipedia that Dele did travel to the Middle East, spent some time there, but he'd also gone to other places. So I don't know if that's super significant or, how we should take that card. Also mentions white Caucasian. It says a male was involved, Indian. I'm in another dimension, which is where we all go when we leave our bodies. We're in a different physical composition or a different dimensional composition when we're out of our bodies. So so we'll leave that there, and then I'll come back at the end and we'll do a culmination. Okay, so when I did the first initial when I started shuffling cards, I got the definitely no, and I didn't know if that definitely no was telling me not to do this reading, because there are people who don't want me to do their readings, and that's what's kind of taking me long to post readings, because I've been scanning certain cases, and some folks don't, they don't want to do it. So I don't know if this was saying don't do it. Plus there was some noise happening in my apartment. So I don't know if this was excitement that somebody wanted me to, or that I was being told not to. But so it says definitely no. That came out, and it also came out that I owed money. I owed somebody money. But as I was shuffling again, I shuffled many times. That card did not come out again, but other telling cards did. So again, definitely no came out. This is the second time it came out, long story short. Okay. Then it says, I was cannibalized. So if the cryptid thing, you know, that would be that I was cannibalized by a cryptid. My disappearance was due to an occult ritual that's also connected to the cryptid and the underground tunnel thing. I come to my family in their dreams. I come around my family, living family, my brother. Okay, so this is interesting because it says my brother, and then it says my coworkers were involved with my disappearance. So I took that as my brother's coworkers were involved in my disappearance because, like I said, I do believe that somebody connected to the brother did this and did this to them, disappeared all of them. But we'll get more into that after. Traveled by boat or submarine. That's how they were removed from the boat. The victim of medical malpractice, meaning that when the brother supposedly committed suicide, I don't believe he committed suicide. I think that he was that this was done to him. Like somebody gave him the insulin, forced it, because there was a whole lot of other stuff in his system as well. And when you read, like if you look up the autopsy and you read it, it's pretty obvious. Like all the stuff that was in his body is pretty obvious that somebody put that there. Like he didn't do that to himself. So I was taken for my organs again. That came out. I was pregnant. Was the girlfriend pregnant? You know. I was kept on a medication drip. At least one of them was. Drugged for a prolonged period of time. Fear, apprehension, and caution. So I didn't know if that was for me as the reader, or if that, because that card came out twice, or they're just telling me that this is what they experienced. A lot of fear. I drowned. I was submerged in water. And that could also be, because I've gone through this before with people who have been on medication drips and that have been drugged. Some of these people end up aspirating, which could have happened to Sebastian as well. Because when you're drugged, you could be vomiting, like things could be happening. If you're being sedated and you're not being fed, your stomach acid, that'll all start to build up. And if you're laying flat, you could easily aspirate and basically drown in your own bodily fluids. So it's not clear if that's what happened or if if somebody was thrown in the water. If somebody was thrown in the water, I don't think it happened to all of them. Okay. That it just happened to one of them. Okay, I cheated on my spouse or girlfriend or boyfriend. A female is involved. I was badly beaten. I was dismembered. Law enforcement was involved. FBI, CIA, DOD. Taken to Canada. They took my organs. So again, I think that different things happen to the different of the three, So let me just get into the other theories and stuff, right? So some people think that the brother, DeBoard, and Serena had a thing going on, and that this all went down because of an affair. I don't think so. Serena doesn't strike me. I don't pick that up from her. I don't get that from her. I don't think that happened. The other thing was that somebody said, well, DeBoard brought weights to weigh down the bodies on the ship, but we don't know if Dele requested those. I mean, Dele was an athlete, right? So it could have been a gift DeBoard could have brought them on as a gift for Dele, or Dele could have requested it, like, hey, can you pick this up or whatever. So we don't know that that's what that was for, to submerge bodies. And then it's been said that, well, they had this tumultuous relationship, and they were always fighting to the point where some crew left the boat. They didn't want to, ride on the boat because they were always fighting. If they were always fighting, of course, there may have been some fighting. I feel like there's probably some jealousy with the board. He's an older sibling. The younger sibling was very much a high achiever. He was wealthy, and then he walked away from the wealth. He walked away from a deal of hundreds of millions of dollars. because I guess he just didn't want anything to do with it anymore, and he was content with what he had. So we walked away with what he had. And the older brother, I think he was like a computer engineer or something like that, probably felt a bit of underachievement, compared to his younger brother. So there could have been some jealousy there. But the fighting, I don't know. I mean, I feel like if the fighting was that bad, how could the brother have been invited? If you're there with your girlfriend and you're supposed to be taking this trip from New Zealand, hitting Tahiti. Tahiti is a romantic spot. That's not a place you want to drag drama and fighting and bickering to. Then they were supposed to go to Hawaii. This is a long trip. Like, this is a real live trip. Like, this isn't just like we're just island hopping for the weekend. This is a real. So why would you invite somebody there that you'd be bickering with and fighting with hard body with your girlfriend there? So that doesn't make any sense to me either. I don't think it could have been that bad. I think there might have been some jealousy, but I don't think the bickering and the fighting would have been that bad to have such a long-term trip with somebody that you can't stand. You know what I mean? Like, would you invite somebody on a trip like that? And probably would take them about 2 weeks to sail to Hawaii, maybe, from New Zealand. Plus, you're stopping off at Tahiti, and Tahiti's gorgeous. Like, it's a romantic destination. So, and I know that, if you have these historic issues and you're locked in these cycles, these toxic cycles of fighting with whether it's a relationship or a sibling, that it could be hard to break that. And yeah, somebody could actually be porting a toxic person with them, even to a romantic destination, because they're just locked into these cycles. And so that is possible, but that seems like a long time to be on that trip. On a boat with somebody that you're just constantly beefing with. The other thing is that there were several phone calls made on the sat phone. One of those phone calls, they said, was to the board's girlfriend, who was in New Zealand. So I saw 2 articles when I finished the reading. One was, they said this girl, Erica, that the board used to deal with was from Northern California. Then they said that there was somebody who gave him the same story that was in New Zealand. So help me understand this. Like, what's up with this Erica? If it is Erica, she sounds a bit suspicious, because you're in New Zealand, you're just hanging out in New Zealand, and you take this call from the board, and you then tell the police that the board told you that there was a confrontation on board, that there was an issue on board. And then it's later said that she drove the board to the Mexican border after he told her that there was a confrontation. So there's 2 different stories about how they got that account. And they said that the sat phone, when he made the sat phone, the phone call from the boat, on the sat phone, he made it to New Zealand, right? Where she claims he said this to her. Okay, so then we hear this again in the LA Times report, where she is stated to be in Northern California and claims that she drove him down to the Mexico border. I believe that's what I saw today. I believe it's what I saw. I'm going to go back and double check on that. But that in itself is suspicious. So 2 different women in 2 different places with the same story that the board supposedly told them. But the board told his mom that he would never hurt. Now, I know that that's her son and that he would say that to his mom. But I don't know. Would he? If he was that cold-hearted, cold-blooded, would he really say that if it wasn't true? Or would he just avoid it altogether? But he actually told her, I would never hurt my brother. And then why would he hurt his brother when his brother was wealthy? And clearly, if the brother cared enough about him to invite him on this beautiful trip, then his brother would likely give him anything he wanted in life, help him out whenever he needed. So how would it benefit him to kill his brother, somebody that would help him whenever he needed, except for paying some debt that he got himself into, the board got himself into? So these are the things that we kind of have to look through in these storylines in the media, because some of this stuff just doesn't make any sense. So the board's autopsy was ruled undetermined, and I'm going to put that clip in right here. It was also reported that the board was threatening suicide on the phone to his mother. So, we can do whatever we want with that. We can take that anyway. Also, okay, so the thing about Arizona was the board was red flagged when he was trying to buy about $152,000 worth of gold in his brother's name. And I thought to myself, well, what if he was doing that to pay off a debt, like to pay somebody off? Could that have been why he was doing it? Because there wasn't any nefarious activity between the two of them before this time. So something had to happen to trigger this. So in other words, like their relationship didn't involve like this kind of seedy craziness where the brother was biting more off than he could chew and was trying to like get his brother involved and getting his brother to cover his messes. There was none of this. So whatever happened had like just happened, like it just became an issue. So when we go back to the first card and we see like there's a mature woman who was looking to deal with a problem, that problem was the board. Like something happened with whoever this woman is he was dealing with or he was working for or whatever the case may be, and she allegedly summoned somebody to deal with them and dealt with them in a way in which those who were around him became collateral damage. Could the board have made a phone call and tried to get somebody or tried to contact somebody and say, to persuade his brother to maybe, help him to pay for a debt, allegedly, if there was one? Did he discuss this with his brother? Did his brother know what was happening, what he was into? So I think that this is what happened again. It has to do with something the brother was into. And also the brother told the mother, there's a article in which the mother stated, as she told, I think, the New York Times, that her son, I'm going to post a clip, her son called her crying, saying that he saw something that he tried to cover up, as if like something was happening, like maybe somebody was trying to set his brother up. Could there have been something going on because the brother declined to continue with the MBA? Could somebody have targeted the brother, Dele, and then the brother caught wind of it or something? Here's my thing. It could be anything. But what I don't believe is that the brother just out of the blue went on this trip with his brother and ended 3 people's lives. I don't buy that at all. I think there's so much more underneath this thing. And he died in the eyes of everyone as guilty. I think his family knows that. I think his family knows and suspects more. And I believe he was a victim. And I think somebody got to him in Mexico. And because he told his mother on the phone that he was aware of something. He tried to he found out something was covered up, or he tried to cover it up, but he didn't know who was aware of him knowing what he knew or whatever. So that made him a target. Could have made him a target. So I'm going to post that, the clip from that article, and then I'm going to leave this because this is pretty layered and we're already at 25 minutes. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in, and I may come back and do more information if I get more information, but thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.